What would it be like if you wake up in the morning and you find out that your neighbors have failed to wake up simply because of the food they have eaten in the evening, or maybe because of certain kind of gases? Of course, without taking much time on why I'm giving you this, our topic of today is climate change. And yes, we have great wealth of panelists with experience in this field related to climate. My name is Nelson Madink. I'm moderator for this very important panel. And of course, I'm a TV presenter and a corporate MC who is playing the role. Right here, we will start by introducing the panelists themselves. First of all, on my right side, we have proponents, and these professionals are a doctor, an environmentalist, and a journalist. But absent with an apology is the doctor. On my left side, we have an attorney. We also have a government representative from the Ministry of Petroleum, Department of Energy and Policy Making. On the far end is the CEO of Home Advantage Petroleum Company. All these experts in this very special sitting do have what to say, as we know the tradition of debate start from the proponent sides, where we have an environmentalist who will introduce himself, whose this point has been directed to, also give us a point of his argument.
Okay, thank you. I'm by name Choli Stephen Kur, an environmentalist who have 15 years experience on the impact of fossil fuel. Here, I'm going to focus on how fossil fuel affects biodiversity and human health. And this fossil fuel has, as mentioned, it normally actually cause pollution. And these pollutions, there are air pollutions, water pollutions, and other pollution, which actually cause harm to aquatic ecosystem by lowering oxygen. And as it is also lowering oxygen, we know very well oxygen is used mostly by the human being and even animal. And again, beside that, fossil fuel also, when it is burned, it also affects, it also produces nitrogens, which is used by plant. Thank you.
That is so insightful from our proponent sides, where the environmentalist actually introduced himself and also gave his point of argument to this motion. Now we are throwing the ball to the opponent's side.
Thank you so much, Moderator Nelson Madink. I'm Abraham Makwek-Shiman, the CEO of Home Advantage Petroleum Company. Home Advantage Petroleum Company was founded 2011 by 7 South Sudanese nationals. Home Advantage Company is doing all the best that it can to make sure the safety of South Sudanese is secure. Home Advantage Petroleum Company is owned by South Sudanese. The company has so far employed 120 people at the grassroots and also at the national level. We are based at the 3 locations. One, that's Poloch oil field. We are also at the Dar oil field. We are also operating in Tarajas oil field. The company is focusing on the sustainable energy. While we recognize the importance of the fossil fuel in our current economy situation, we are committed in debating all ways to reduce the carbon footprint and promote cleaner awareness to the communities. In recent years, as we are in operation, that's 8 years from now, business have increasingly organized the importance of sustainability and the urgent need to address the climate change. With corporations, with other companies, we are not merely passive actors in environmental issues. we have a crucial role that we are playing by shaping market trends, technologies to all the consumers. We also present our great roles to the community by protecting them with all the necessary equipments and weapons. As we all know, the damage that had been caused by the fossil fuel are also have a mean of controlling them, unless you don't know. That's the fact. Unless the company doesn't know how to control all this. But as Nelson Madink Petroleum Company, we are all aware, and we have expertise that are working within the national and also at the grassroots, making sure that the civilians and the properties are 100% protected. Okay. Among the measures that we have applied, to mention one, is the reduction of greenhouse gas emission. The most important problem and responsibility that my company holds to fight the climate change is the reduction of greenhouse gas emission, particularly in the carbon dioxide and nitrogen oxygen. By minimizing their carbon footprint, business can sustainably migrate contribution to the global warming. This involves the approach that includes investing in renewable energy sources like wind and solar hydropower. So this is one of the major on the ground, just to mention because the discussion will rotate.
All right, that is a very crucial point right there from the CEO of Nelson Madink Oil Company. And of course, you have heard him highlighting the measures put in place and how beneficial is the company to the locals that are present in that geographical locations of oil production. Yes, now we're going to the proponent sides where we will have to give the ball to the journalists to give us what the report says on this particular matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed moderator, my fellow panelists, my name is Madink Kot. I am a journalist specialized in environmental issues reporting. I have reported extensively over a decade. My aim is to bring the factual information to the public. In context of South Sudan, oil production is a crucial component of the economy, contributing to the significance of the nation. However, the World Health Organization in 2019 November reported outdoor air pollution responsible approximately over 4.2 million premature deaths globally each year. Released during fossil fuel combustion, such as nitrogen, particularly linked with respiratory diseases. South Sudan has the largest number within 4.2 leading premature death like asthma and air respiratory system disease. For instance, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has said that without a drastic change to our current trajectory, we can expect more frequent severe weather events. This particularly concerned for the South Sudan, where extreme weather has already been linked to the prolonged food shortage. Transitioning away from fossil fuel is not a judgment, is not an environmental issue, but necessity to ensure food security and human survival. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our panelists from the proponent sides, and that is the journalist speaking on the media perspective of what we call climate change. And yes, we already know, we already feel the weather. It could be heat wave, it could be flood that has been happening. I think that's what the report has. Now we're going back to the opponent sides, and we're going to look at what the government representative is going to say based on this.
Thank you so much, Nelson Madink, moderator, for this discussion panels. I am by name Simon Madink, a government representative working in the Ministry of Petroleum of South Sudan, Department of Energy and Policy Making. My role is to oversee the environmental policies, economic development, which often involve addressing critical issues in the management of our fossil fuel resource. Fossil fuels have been a backbone energy system and economic for decades. Today, I'm here to share with you my experience of discussing strategies and management. As a senior government official working in the Ministry of Petroleum of South Sudan, I stand here to advocate against the motion that the usage of fossil fuel, especially carbon-based energy source, primarily drive global climate change and negatively impact our environmental and human life. While I certainly acknowledge the dangers of climate change, I believe that the fossil fuel play a vital role in the development of nations, particularly in the context of South Sudan and globally. And I will outline one key point to defend my argument. The point here is about the economic development and energy security. Oil and natural gas are not simply energy source. They are all the backbone of the economic of development, not just in South Sudan, but globally. The oil sector contributes approximately 90% of our government revenue and is fundamental to our economic. This revenue is crucial for funding our sectors such as health sector, education sector, and infrastructure. Globally, fossil fuels have historically enabled economic development in many nations, countries such as the United States and China. Thank you so much.
This has actually reminded me of a policy that I read about the US government, let's say, based on parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. In US, the Republicans are more into what brings wealth to America, regardless of what it takes to secure that funding. So as a government representative, I think you've also highlighted to us the importance of oil as the backbone of our country, especially carbon-based minerals or resources. Now, since we actually had enough from that point, now we're going to throw the ball again to the proponent sides, where the environmentalists will tell us exactly what do they still think is the effect of the same thing that we're talking about.
Thank you, moderator. Of course, with this fossil fuel, it has a lot of effects, and we are trying to highlight some few of the impact that we have experienced. Here, the fossil fuel used to produce a large quantity of carbon dioxide. And this carbon dioxide, when it burns, it eventually, carbon's emission trips hit in the atmosphere. That mostly resulted to climate change. With this, we are trying to urge all the companies who are working on oil has to look at what they can do, some measures. And we're actually urging them to sort down the oil and see what necessary measures that they can see, so that the condition or the situation of both animal, human being, and other plant. This actually affect every living organism if some necessary measures are not taken. Thank you.
It's quite serious, by the way. Looking at the environmentalist, he calls for a shutdown of the oil operation. Let's say the companies that are related to oil production. And yes, I think we have a law in this country, and we are going to get the legal perspective from the attorney who is present in the House.
Well, thank you, moderator, and the panel members. I'm Ales Majurayel, an attorney and legal consultant specializing in environmental law. I work in collaboration with various organizations to advocate for strict regulations on fossil fuels extraction and usage. My aim or partnership is to protect the environment and public health through legal frameworks stipulated in international treaties, national legislations, and local regulations. To add my point, an environmentalist was talking about the effects that resulted into the usage of fossil fuel and carbon gas emissions. He is right that this thing, they caused problem to the local community, and the law is in place to protect this. We have legal frameworks. These are laws governing careless and mismanagement of fossil fuel and carbon gas emissions that contaminate the environment and ecosystem. We have international treaties that are governing them, and we also have national legislation and local regulations. So in international treaties, we have Kyoto Protocol, which was adopted in 1997 and entered into force in 2005 in Japan, marking it as the first legally binding international treaty aimed at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, including those from fossil fuels. We also have an international treaty, that is Paris Agreement, which was adopted on December 12, 2015 during the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change conference in Paris. This agreement aims to limit global temperature rise and commitments from countries to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. So these are some of the international treaties. Coming to the national and local regulations framework in South Sudan, we have the Petroleum Act 2012. This is a legal framework governing the exploration, production, and management of petroleum resources in South Sudan. It outlines the roles and responsibilities of the government and oil companies. We also have the Environmental Protection Act 2016. This act establishes guidelines for environmental management related to oil extraction activities aiming to mitigate negative impacts on ecosystem and communities. We also have the Land Act 2009. This law addresses land ownership issues, which are crucial for oil exploration and extraction activities, ensuring that the land rights are respected in relation to fossil fuels operations. We have also Local Government Act 2009, focus on governance at the local level. This act also includes provisions that can affect how local authorities manage natural resources, including fossil fuels. We have regulations on petroleum exploration and production 2013. These regulations provide detailed operational guidelines for companies involved in petroleum activities, including safety standards and environmental protection measures. So these policies were put in place to govern the careless and mismanagement of fossil fuels. It governed the major fossil companies to work as in accordance with the law. Thank you.
Wow. Actually, the panelist who is speaking on the legal basis has actually given us what the law really says in this motion. And before we actually throw the ball back to the proponents, we are going to still go back to the opponent sides where the CEO of the company will have a say on it.
Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Moderator, Nelson Madink. Just to add on what my colleague or my legal advisor has said, South Sudan is a constitutional country regulated by laws of the land and its people. My company is not operating by its own, but it is operating under the legal constitution of this country. It has been said earlier by my colleague who has called for a shutdown, that's the environmentalists. Yes, shutdown can never be a solution to all this because of so many reasons. Among the reasons, as I mentioned earlier, that my company already has 120 employed people. These are not only the whole number. What I've mentioned is that the senior people. I didn't mention the gatekeepers, the cleaners, the garden keepers, and all this. Reason being, if I have employed 120 people as senior people, the number behind might be big. And for that matter, as the country is also trying a way possible to employ this citizen of this country, when you calculate if to be shut down, it has affected thousands, more than the affected one by the climate change. So I call for all the environmentalists and the journalists to join us together and make sure we prioritize the safety of our people, not the shutdown. Because the shutdown is too dangerous for them. But the safety will be the best, because it says prevention is better than cure. If we prevent all these unnecessary harms that may cause by the oil production, we better cure them by putting the measures so that they continue with their work that they're doing in the field. Okay? So the best thing that I can call to all of us to collaborate is to make sure we all come and sit down and discuss as panels as today, what are the possible ways that we can add on what we have already. Because as an environmentalist, you have what it takes to protect the people. As a CEO, I have also what it takes to protect the people and all the other panelists, including the journalists. So I call for all the companies. The next discussion should invite all the operation companies on the ground to come and sit down, and we see how best all these things should be treated or should be prevented in order not to cause harms. As I mentioned earlier, there has never been harm that has been reported from my side. But if at all, okay, such things are there, I also urge the government and also the environmentalists to find amicable solutions so that operation should continue and put down the measures that will protect us. Thank you so much.
Okay, it's actually quite insightful when you look at what the CEO of the company has really prioritized. He is against the shutdown that has been called for by the environmentalists, by actually giving a hint of what it looked like if, in case, we accept the shutdown. Of course, the effect is much greater than what we think. If we shut down the oil company, the effect is quite severe than we think. But well, as a carbon-based kind of mineral resource, I think it is a matter of long-term effect that we talked about. And yes, we have to now throw the ball back to the proponents, where the journalists will tell us exactly.
Thank you once again. According to UNESCO report in the same 2019 November, they also report that citizens are heavily reliant on the fossil fuel, not only threatening to the environment, health, but also in danger in every level of the communities relying on agriculture and livestock sectors. Vulnerable climate fluctuation as a carbon emission raise. So does the temperature resulting in a rising weather pattern that hamper the agriculture, yet increasing the rise of famine and poverty. They are calling to shift to green energy alternative such as solar, wind, that can help mitigate health risks. Not only would reduce the fossil fuel use lead to cleaner air, but it would also improve the overall quality of the life for the million. South Sudan are the high had the high solar potential due to its geographical location. Investing in renewable energy could significantly enhance energy access, leading to improved health outcome for its citizens. Thank you.
As I heard and quote from the journalist, I think journalists always report on what has been reported. That is the legal basis of what we call journalism. And he has actually highlighted some of the information with credible sources, including UNESCO, and of course, many other actors in the environmental issue. Well, now, I think we are going to throw the ball back to my left side, and you already know who is the next. So, can we allow the CEO again to say something on this?
Thank you so much, Moderator Nelson, and my colleague, who is journalist. It is quite interesting discussion. I'm learning, and I believe all of us we are learning from this, and thank for that. As my company, as I mentioned earlier, I'm doing all that I can to make sure I don't cause harm to innocent civilians or the innocent people on the ground. The journalist has mentioned the report that has been made about the Adiama. Adiama is one of these that is not only may happen in the pill, but it can be spread. It is everywhere. It's a normal sickness that is not only caused by the fossil fuel, but it can cause by other things. So it's a normal sickness, Mr. Journalist, and it can be treated. Not the fossil fuel that has caused it. Among the things that I'm doing in the field, I'm also one of the people supporting you, but not by shutting down the operations, but by advocating for climate action. It's one of the things that I'm doing, and it is already been applied, that I advocate for climate action. The corporate leaders, that including my company and other companies, we have sit and discussed all this. It was me who mediated this talk, and we already came out with the possible solutions that all of us need to give attention to, including the governments and environmental experts. These things, as a CEO, I hold a sustainable influence that extends beyond my only organizations, that beyond not only my organization. I have, and I always listen to public opinions from public policy makers to address the climate change. Advocacy for climate change that include supporting policies that promote the renewal of energy, carbon pricing, and also emission regulations. These are the things that I'm been doing. And why do I do this before I'm being given a pressure? Because I know what our people need maximum protection, and also they deserve job opportunities. To bring to contents of my company and Juba base, if I were only to operate here in Juba without making a base also at the oil field, then the locals that are there at the grassroots couldn't find such opportunities that they already have now. Okay? So I'm engaging in dialogue with the governmental bodies and many other CEOs to make sure we do the best to our people, because we are nationalists, we are South Sudanese, and they are also South Sudanese. We are not operating as if we are going. We are doing this to make sure that our people got all that what it takes, because we have these dedicated people, and the government cannot take all of us. The government is too small, it's too narrow. For those who have already maybe been there for long, but the company are the one accusing the government, and we are part of the government. We are doing that we can to make sure we support our government one way or the other. Okay, that's by also supporting the state government. Okay, and we also bring schools. I already installed the 2 schools that are operating now, 1 secondary school and 1 primary school. The secondary school is in a Plush oil field, and I also given Tarjat primary school, because based on the assessment that I made, the Tarjat lack the basic education that is happening on the ground. So I have to prioritize a primary school so that it help them. And when I come to Polish, there are a number of primary school. So I put a secondary school, which is from when our children finish from primary school.
As you have heard from the CEO of the company, he has highlighted the benefits of the company to the locals. And regardless of what the long-term effect could be, he has also put some measures to make sure he tackles all these risks that are actually being foreseen from it. Now, we are going straight to the environmentalists to give us another view on that particular motion.
Thank you also again for the second chance or the third chance, talking about the impacts. There are so many impacts, as I mentioned before. When we look at this environmental degradation, which also again to talk about the effect of what is so-called acid rain. This acid rain have actually very extremely harm to plant and other organism. So what are all these things? It has to, I think in plant, they have some mineral, thing to do with calcium, thing to do with magnesium, and many other minerals that are actually useful to the health of the plant. And this, due to this degradation, it has to go deep, or it is sink deep to the ground. And as it is sink deep to the ground, this acid rain, it actually do away with all this calcium that are, or mineral, this mineral that are useful to the health of the plant. And this actually reduce the number of some animal, because those plant animal are feeding on, and even human being they are feeding on. And it's actually lead to the displacement of people from there. Because if these few livestock holders or owners seeing that there is no way of which the animal can benefit from the land that they are occupied, they have to shift from that place to different place, which is actually affecting them. Thank you.
All right. Actually, we have had a lot of very wonderful points from our environmentalists. And yes, we have to now go to my left side, where we do have the opponent. The government representative will tell us exactly what do they say on this.
Thank you once again, moderator. I'm actually very happy and excited to this panel discussions. Another point here, I will talk about the international cooperation. And as you know, fossil fuel consumption, and it in fact is a global issue that require international coordination, such as participation in climate change agreements like Paris Agreement to limit a global temperature. South Sudan must be able to participate in this global energy economic without being marginalized, simply because whether countries choose to transition faster, we too need the time to resource. And again, another point is about the energy transition challenges. In South Sudan, we face issues like inadequate infrastructure, high financial constraint, and a lack of technical expertise. Therefore, renewable required fossil fuel remain the most practical, immediate source of energy. It is irresponsible to propose a quick transition that may leave a million without energy access and disrupt our ongoing development efforts. To this point, I will again talk about the technical advancement in fossil fuel industries. It is crucial to recognize that the fossil fuel industry itself is undergoing significant technological advancements designed to minimize environmental impacts. Moreover, natural gas, cleaner burning fossil fuel compared to coal and oil serves as a bridge fuel in the transition toward a more sustainable energy future. This ensuring energy stability as more renewable sources are gradually integrated into the energy mix. Thank you once.
We have actually had enough from the government representatives, who is none other than Gob Simon, and he has actually highlighted most of the points that are very crucial when it comes to how we can tackle this kind of issue. Now let's go straight to one of the opponents, Aleth Majur Ayel, that is in the building.
Well, thank you, moderator, for the chance. The second point to me will be policy advocacy. Policy advocacy plays a crucial role in shaping responses to climate change. Various organizations work tirelessly to influence legislation that aim at reducing carbon emissions through lobbying efforts, public campaigns, and partnership with governmental bodies. Advocacy groups often push for renewable energy like solar, wind, and biomass. To these sources, transitioning to these sources is essential for reducing global carbon emissions, mitigating air pollution, and fostering sustainable economic growth. But in context of South Sudan, transitioning to this will also cause effects. If we transition immediately to renewable energy, it will also contribute to the impacts. Let me go to second point, that is public interest law. Public interest law serves as a mechanism for advancing environmental justice and holding entities accountable for their contributions to climate change. Legal aid organizations often represent marginalized communities affected by pollution and climate-related impacts witnessed from the communities living near oil fields in various areas in Upper Nile region. These communities frequently lack resources or political power to advocate effectively for their rights. Public interest lawyers try to enforce existing environmental laws and challenge inadequate regulatory frameworks. Their aim is to initiate and promote social equity in environmental policy making process.
An attorney actually gave us what the law says concerning this matter. Now we are going to throw the ball again, still on the opponent sides. We are going to give the CEO of the company a chance to tell us more.
It has been quite interesting, and I believe you have touched all the most wanted means that can help us to this fossil fuel and on climate change. It is really wonderful to have such a final discussion with my colleagues, so that I also learn what I was not aware of, and also I made them aware of the roles that I'm doing at the oil field as a company. This is to make sure that the best is found out within us, and also the best is given to the community who deserve ourselves, and all of us should be held accountable in case of anything that is not going on well, and also we have to give back to the community. As a CEO of this company, we are doing all that we can to make sure the communities are at the safer side, and the country is also getting what they expect from us. That's oil production, and as of such, we have no much to do. We are being guided by the government that is telling us what to do, and also we have also been abide by the law of the country and constitution as well. And also we need more advices and from environmentalists, and also from journalists. So this is a corporate work, and I urge all of us to continue with that. To conclusion of this final discussion, the strategies that outlined above the scope cliff and integrated approaches business can adapt to combat the climate change. This is from reducing the greenhouse gas emission to advocating for climate action. Finally, friendship practice is the best thing. We only notified our markets position by contributing to the collective efforts need to secure a best for our communities, and also with the other stakeholders in the oil field. As a leader, we are actively engaging into these initiatives that have been raised and all that already have been on the ground. This is to move forward for sustainable economic that can accumulate, ensuring the resistance and the opportunities for the changing of world and South Sudan as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy that I've been here for this day, and I wish such final discussion should be carried on, okay, in order to give that to come and educate ourselves and give ourselves a positive impact so that we can do to the community. And from here, I would like to stop here and say thank you so much to the moderator for the day, and also to my colleagues on this panel discussion. It has been wonderful, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right, I think we actually learned enough from the CEO of the company, which is Home Advantage Petroleum Company, and by actually projecting how the operation system really worked, minus affecting the locals who are present in that geographical part of the country, which is so rich in minerals that are related to carbon emission. Now we are going to the proponent sites, where the journalist will also give us what are his points on this particular matter.
Communities call for the climate change action according to Paris Agreement. There is a strong global movement toward combating climate change driven by the scientists, consultants, international agreement, and public awareness. The Paris Agreement marks significant commitments by the nation to restrict the global warming to a well below 2 degrees Celsius, primarily focus on reducing carbon emission from the fossil fuel sources. South Sudan, as a member of international community, has a role to play in fighting by the investing in renewable energy, committing the transitional way from fossil fuel. The nation can contribute to the global effects while refining local benefits, increasing viability of the climate issue to ordinary people, especially youth, demonstrate the public demand action from their government. Failure to act not only endanger but the environment and also jeopardize the failure of the generation welfare. The effect to shift toward renewable already underway in many parts of the world, showcasing viability, alternative, and fossil fuel exit. We must hold a scientific evidence and foster commitment toward the sustainability future. Thank you.
When it comes to climate fight, this is a fight being advocated for by the journalists, let's say by the environmentalists, and as well doctors, and also the journalists are the medium to pass this particular kind of issue that is burning globally. As you know, we know a lot of issues that we're facing today climatically. Let's say flood, let's say heat wave, let's say many other things that are happening related to climate change are caused by human. And who are the actors in this cause? Of course, we already know who they are. Now, let's give a chance to an environmentalist to tell us all the points that he has so that we can move through the opponent side to give us their last point as well.
My two last points are as follow. One is going actually basically to agriculture. What some part of some negative impacts that the local farmers or agriculturists has the professional sectors what they are facing due to these fossil fuel impacts. When you look at this one, what carbon dioxide, we know very well plant actually use what they so-called photosynthesis, and the presence of what photosynthesis, but as a result of carbon dioxide, it used to give access of too much photosynthesis, which lead to competition of what reaction, like it will actually give low impact of what low capacity of protein and by molecules. All this, when there are too much photosynthesis, it actually affect the reaction of what or the use of photosynthesis, which lead to low yield of crops. So that one is also being observed by local farmers and those who are expert in agriculture. So these are some impacts that we have actually observed from there. Again, what we also observe from this has a negative impacts is due to these issues, all these negative, it has also again gives some low interest by the local community to the company who are operating. Of course, as mentioned by the CEO, he said they are actually creating job opportunity for the local people. But I believe this is not all. Local people who are living around are the one get opportunity. So those who actually depending on farming, and they have realized that there are some impacts that brought by the fossil fuel that actually gives the livestock low productions and also low yield of their crops. It has created actually some conflicts or no interest between these two, the community and the company that are operating in such area. Like I can even mention in those areas like Ruweng, there are some actual areas where people have actually shifted away from where they think it was actually good for their living condition. And because of this, they have shifted away to different places where they are not comfortable. Thank you.
Of course, one key word to note right here is displacement. As we need to talk about what happened as a result of the operation of companies right in that geographical location of the country, which is rich in carbon-based minerals, we have seen a mass displacement of people from their original homes, and this has caused uncomfortability in the way they live, and in a lot of ways it has actually affected them. Come to think of it this way, what if today you are actually asked to leave the house that you had been there for more than a decade, or let's say more than 20 years or so? Do you think it will be easy for you to settle peacefully? I don't think so. And yes, these are the things that the environmentalists has highlighted to us. And now we are actually turning back to the opponent sides, and we're going to get more from what the law still say.
Thank you so much, moderator. I have heard a lot from journalists and environmentalists, plus the CEO of a home advantage company. So as a legal practitioner, we are aware of the suffering of the local population or communities around the areas. That is why we came up with the laws governing this. So we have a law called corporate accountability. This involves holding major fossil fuels corporations responsible for their contributions to climate change and demanding they cease practices that exacerbate environmental degradation. This accountability is crucial to stop the corporations from influencing climate change activities aiming to protect their interest rather than the planet. The movement for corporate accountability seeks to remove conflict of interest from companies and ensures they contribute fairly to mitigate efforts, including reparations or compensation of the damage caused by their emissions to the civil population. Thank you very much.
Wow, holding the corporates accountable. Of course, that thing sounds really very interesting, because if we don't actually hold these people accountable, there are high chances that they will actually do things in the way they think, minus caring for the people whom they actually got from that location. And by so, I think right now, I'm going to throw a question to all of you. Anyone can answer. I have heard early on that we are actually going to transition to what they call renewable energy system, whereby you have to use solar system. We also have to also use what they call wind and biomass. So now, do you think this transition is easy?
Yes, thanks once again. You know, as a CEO in a company, we are in a position already to adapt the modern policy of doing things in the oil sector. That's by installing a solar system, and also by trying a mean that will never affect our community, because by using solar system, it also have as a company, not only to the community, but it help as a company. Okay. How did it help? We cannot, we will not be providing the petrol, the diesel, and all this. It will help us. So, as the environmentalists has put earlier, there are a lot of things that are causing damages, and as of that, the company is in position to adapt any modern system that may come tomorrow or today. We are ready for that. We don't have an issue about it, because we are moving. The world is moving from the manual to digital. Okay, so we are in position to go with any digital mean that will help us as a company, and also acknowledging the other natural disaster. As moderator has mentioned it, there has been displacement at the oil field, but I believe these are not caused by the oil company operating there, but there are some national disasters that have been occurring. It happens now and then. To mention among them is the flooding that is now at the grassroots. We have been contributing to make sure the flooding doesn't affect the locals. Okay, so such national disaster, it needs our collective attention and responsibility. All the ideas so that we make this country a modern country like another countries. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, moderator, for the question. At the current context of South Sudan, it is not a must to transition immediately to renewable energy sources. But as we adapt to modern way of doing things, we can use the two, the fuel, fossil fuel. We can use the fossil fuel and renewable energy sources, because in South Sudan, the fossil fuel are the things that we are defending on as a country, as a young country in South Sudan. So this moving away from it immediately will not be the best for the country. Thank you.
All right, I think the most heard answer from this side is that it is good to transition, but making it at a very higher pace will actually affect us in one way or another, because we are still a young country that is growing, and of course we need to take things step by step until we reach there. Now I'm going to ask you, the proponent, are you quite satisfied of what was given as the solution by the opponents? Who is ready to?
Yes, thank you, moderator. We have actually learned a lot from the opposition side, how they have defended their side. I think we can say about this is the way forward based on the point they have raised. If they are going to, like what we talk of, some measures to be put and actually abandon the use of fossil fuel, they talk of that they are going to put some measures in place to mitigate what we have mentioned. So with this, we say we are going to do follow-up if they are because, like what CEO says about the measures that they have taken, that they have dug some holes to look at maybe to conserve water and everything, to conserve water. And this is at the side where they are. But there are some areas where there are some areas where oil companies are operating, but we did not learn, or I did not learn about all those measures put in place.
Top of that, in the arena agreement, it is decreased to 82%, and it is easy to ship from petroleum, that is a greenhouse gas, to a solar system, because in the research made in 2010, it says 90% of job creation should be done and you shift it to a solar system. It will create a more job opportunity. It is not hard to choose that over a life of million. Thank you.
To all our participants, all the panelists from both proponent sides and opponent sides, I give you a big thank you for making this panel sitting a success. To all our audience who are watching us, who had been actually there to listen to all these kind of key points, trying to highlight the concern and also giving solutions to this global issue, which is climate change. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.